Today it is here. It is finally here. I just got this in the mail today, delivered to my doorstep. This is the new GHK 21 or 18-in-1. If that's not confusing, I'm not sure what is, but I would just be calling this the GHK 21. Now what this is a Leatherman free design. Look at the handles right here. Inspired tool in a Leatherman Surge platform. Now, it does not have the pliers, it does not have any of the magnetic structure of the Free series, but it definitely takes inspiration from it in the handles and also the locking mechanism, and wow, all outside opening tools. That is huge, major. There are a lot of groundbreaking new things that this tool does that fix so many things of the older style copying the Leatherman Surge. So this is the tool that Leatherman should have made. So this is one of those things where GHK has said, hey, there's the Leatherman arc. Why don't we just stretch the frame? And it makes perfect sense to me. They have turned the Leatherman arc into a Leatherman arc Surge, which is fantastic. Now let's look at the outside. What we have right here is a pocket clip. A lot of people have been asking, how can I put a pocket clip on these larger tools? Well, now the GHK 21 does that. I do think the pocket clip might be a little bit small for some people, but hey, it's a pocket clip. I'll take it. Now on this side is probably my least favorite of the outside opening tools. I like the style of the knife, but it looks like they have laser etched it to look like Damascus. I don't know that that's Damascus. It looks sort of fake, but it does have a design on it which will appeal to a fair amount of people, perhaps. I do like this design of the almost like the Tonto serrated blade. I think that's pretty cool right there. All these are locking tools. Then we have the T-shank adapter. Now this one, I'm trying to think if this is a little shorter or not than the Leatherman Surge clones. It's about the same size it looks like, but the saw blade that's in there makes it look a little shorter. And then it does come with a diamond and a regular file right here. Now, I'm sure someone will say, can you use does it accept the same T-shank blades as the Byberry Day Camping? So let's see. Yeah. So these fit right in, and then, yeah, so these are basically the same. All right, so it does use pretty much the same size, but the new one has a hole in it for the GHK 21, and the reason is they've updated this to a design a little bit more similar to the Leatherman Surge. That is cool. Now how this works is actually swings out at the bottom and then it fits into a groove on the inside of this adapter. And I feel like that makes it a lot more secure. Yeah, that's pretty neat. And I have to say it is so much easier to deploy one-handed. They did a really nice job with that. It essentially has like a thumb stud built in right there. The older one, I had a very hard time deploying this many times. I felt like sometimes this would sort of almost come apart as you were trying to get out of the handle, because I'd be tempted to just shove on this, which I guess maybe you're supposed to, but sometimes, yeah, I don't know. I just was not a big fan of the older design, but this new design, yeah, I do like that. It's going to take a little getting used to how it swings out at the bottom, but that is pretty cool. But it does mean that some of your adapters I don't think will work from the older design unless you drill holes in them, if you want that spring retention to work and hold it in there. All right, let's move on to one of, well, actually the last tool, and this will be the scissors. So let's go ahead, take this through some of the scissor tests. Sometimes these work out great, sometimes not. But I can tell right away these scissors seem to be a lot better than some of the other ones I've tried. They have no problem whatsoever with the paracord. I don't think they'll have issues with the inner tube. They don't. Let's see, they do slice right through the plastic. I need to get some more strap, but they are cutting right through this strap here. Very nice. And I'm noticing that these have like a ridge, so you can get a little bit better grip on these. Let's take this through the seat belt. Goes right through the seat belt right there. Yeah, it definitely feels a little different with that ridge on the scissors. I'm trying to think if I like that better than the older style. So the older style has this piece of metal that's smoother. I think I actually prefer that, to be honest, but some people may prefer that extra grip on these scissors. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up, and onto the inside we have spring-loaded pliers. Wow. I think a lot of you guys will be pretty excited about that. These are, I think, one of the first spring-loaded Surge style pliers I have seen from a copy of the Leatherman Surge. These Byberry, Day Camping, Decoyu, Swiss Tech, I think these are all just basically normal pliers without the spring assisted, but these right here are spring loaded pliers. Very nice. Now there is some grease in here, but there is no gritty sound. These have the replaceable wire cutters, the crimper slot at the bottom, pretty much your standard, and they do come with these replaceable wire cutters in the bag with the hardware and the tool. Very, very neat. I love this design. These pliers I feel like are really, really good. I don't feel like they've changed the design of the pliers much. It looks pretty much the same. It's not quite as shiny. It has more of a matte finish, but that's mostly what's different. And then it doesn't have that engraved stainless on here like some of the others. All right, now nothing more on the inside. As I mentioned before, this has pretty much the same design as a Leatherman arc on the end, but none of the magnetic architecture. So I think they can get away with selling this without too much copyright infringement, I'm guessing. This is one of my favorite new additions, an outside bit driver on, well, the outside. This is magnetic, so there is no ball detent right here. This would work good as a 1/4-inch nut driver. Yeah, I really like this. Now I know some of you will say the skeletonized bit driver is not as durable. Now this is the second GHK 16 that I've gotten, and this is fantastic. I really love this bit driver. Just like on my other one, and the green one is actually the one that I still carry to work every day. I pretty much use it every day, and so far the bit driver has held up really well. You wouldn't think it would because of how thin it is, but structurally it has held up very well so far, so I will continue to use it. But this is amazing. Now this tool is, well, it's got some surprises, and we'll talk about that later, but I think this bit driver might play a part in one of its other secret features. Not really features, but the way it wins. Now on the outside there's 4 tools, and a couple of these I'm not super excited about. Mainly this file. I'm not sure why we need another file. And the screwdriver on the end, I wish it was just a large screwdriver like Leatherman has, the very large one. And some of these Byberry Day Camping clones have it as well. I think this one has it, yes. This very large screwdriver, I really find that useful, and I think that would have been a lot better choice in here. But instead we have this file screwdriver combo. Bottle opener, this screwdriver is okay, the medium size, and there is the awl right here, which I think that actually looks pretty nice. The tip looks a little bit more useful than some of the other ones I've seen. Then there is the can opener and the wire stripper. So it's mainly the file that gives me pause. Some of these tools look a little cheaper than I would like to see, but that is what we have on the outside for the tools. Now, one of the things I'm excited about is when I weigh this, this actually comes in almost an ounce lighter than the Leatherman Surge. So this one comes in 11.2 ounces, or let's go ahead, change this over to grams, 316 grams. Now, for instance, the Byberry that or the Day of Camping I just reviewed in the last video comes in 12.1 ounces, so almost an ounce heavier. And the Leatherman Surge comes in around 12.5 ounces. So I think that is something where this definitely shines. Now, it doesn't stop there, but there is actually something to talk about with the sheath or the pouch. This, I've noticed they have definitely tried to make it heavier duty. There isn't necessarily a MOLLE option anymore, but they have added reinforcing right here. This right here is about double the thickness of a lot of cheaper sheaths. Then they have added this Velcro onto this side, and then even on this side, it just seems a little thicker. This right here is actually glow in the dark. That's a pretty nice touch. On the inside, the sides are a little bit thin still. They're the elastic, but the bit kit is definitely a change. I'm not sure if it's a great change, but it is a change. I'm not a fan of this elastic sleeve in the back. I don't think, I think there's a better way to do that. I'm not sure what, but that doesn't seem to work too well. All right, now this is one of the negatives. These bits seem to fall out a little bit, but you do have a bunch of bits. You've got flat bits and then some hex and Torx bits right there. Pretty nice selection. I really like how you have all these extra. And then the bit holder, I think this is novel. I do think these bits need to be, the tolerances need to be increased a tiny bit, or magnets or something need to be added. I think maybe it does have magnets. I forget. Does it? No, I don't think it is. But maybe they need to add some magnets, something. But other than that, this is very creative. So this is actually a whistle right here. And then on this side, you have your sharpening stone, which I think is pretty clever. And then this actually right here slides into place. Isn't that neat? On this side, we've got the ferrule rod, the same thing, slides into place. I really like that setup. That's very clever. I just wish the bits worked a little bit better. It needs almost like a magnetic closure on the other side, to just like a long magnet to lay down and hold it all in, something like that. But yeah, otherwise, that is very creative, very clever, pretty neat. The only problem is when you try to put it in this way, all the bits get snagged and sort of fall off. So you have to remember all the time to put it in this way. The bits sometimes still snag, but it works a lot better if you put it in with the flat side facing you. Now, when this is put in, this creates a very bulky pouch. That is huge, monstrous. But that's what you get if you want to pouch carry. I would much prefer to use the pocket clip because it would be a lot thinner. Those are the options. I do appreciate how GHK has attempted to upgrade their sheath, and pretty much every area they have really tried to make things better. All right, it's time for the negatives. What are the negatives on this tool? Well, the negatives on this tool are price. $100. That's how much this costs. Now, it is not as nice as the Decoyu clone of the Leatherman Arc. The Decoyu actually has thicker handles. These handles are a little bit thinner. And in the bottom, here we go, at the bottom, there is a fair amount of play back and forth. I want to go ahead and bring in this Day of Camping. This one actually, I guess, has some play as well, but it's not quite as much. I think because of how this is designed, it does have a little bit more play. Now, I don't know if I've ever actually had an issue where that created a problem with all that play, but it definitely doesn't look confidence inspiring when you can do that. But otherwise, the handles are a little bit thinner. That's a negative. We already talked about the bits can fall out of that holder. That's definitely negative. And then with this one, I don't know if it'll happen with you, but with me, not only did I pay $100 from AliExpress, but then DHL paid the import duties to the US. So if you are based in the US, I had to pay $30 extra on import fees. Youch. So this came in at around $130. That's getting awfully close to the Leatherman Surge at around $150. Yes, this is still $20 cheaper. Yes, there's a lot of things I love about this, a lot more than the Leatherman Surge. But yeah, that's way too much. At just $100, I still think this is a great value. But if you have to pay the import fees on top of that, then that definitely it becomes a little bit more questionable. Very excited about this tool. I'm curious to see what you guys think. I'm guessing some of you will say I'm out due to price, but GHK has improved a ton of the things you guys have been asking for. They've actually made it. I will leave links to this below. Pretty excited to see the evolution and maybe the disruption in the multi-tool world that this tool will cause.